us Magic folk have deep reasons to celebrate, and I'm not going to be able to do it justice because I had dental work done and my face feels like garbage. But but us Magic bros, we're winning, and gals. Whoever plays Magic, whoever's into Magic, Magic's your number one game. We've got a reason to celebrate because the Pokemon bros and gals are jealous. They're jealous. They're jealous of our stability. They're jealous of our price hikes in reasonable timeframes. They're jealous of the scarcity and the prices. They're jealous of the product that you can get at good prices, and they're jealous of the product that you can't get at bad prices. They're jealous. And this jealousy, I'm going to tie it back to, in my opinion, when things first began to obviously be crazy, which was Final Fantasy. And we're going to tell the story that leads up to today on how we are in one of the most insane Magic markets with some of the greatest potential for upside for people who are financially savvy and paying attention. You can turn $1,000 into $2,000 into $4,000 into $8,000 into $16,000 into $32,000. Wow, isn't it cool? I can do math. You can do it. And it all starts with understanding Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy came out last year summer. Pre-orders for collector booster boxes were hundreds of dollars above MSRP, around like $600. Set comes out, collector booster boxes spike. They're going $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, and then they kind of drift back down to $11, $12, around there. And eventually they get down to $1,000. But the real interesting story is the play booster boxes. Because the play booster boxes come out at release and they sell out. And I mean, like, distribution runs out. And they do another wave and then they sell out. And they do a reprint and they sell out. And now we're not just talking about right at release, but we're talking about the story of Final Fantasy play boosters over the past year. I'll share my screen. If you take a look at the price chart for the past year, we see that around a year ago, Final Fantasy play booster boxes were selling as high as $280 for a single play booster box. And then reprints, price crashes down to as low as $120 for the same play booster box, down $100, which is absolutely bonkers. I mean, what's really crazy is this high price, the almost $300 people were paying for play booster boxes about a year ago. And as you can see in this graph, what we've experienced over the past year is these high above MSRP prices that drop all the way down to basically distribution costs. And they are right back up where today the cheapest Final Fantasy play booster box you can get on TCG Player is about $243. When you take a look at the 6-month graph, you could have bought these play booster boxes for $140 6 months ago, and today they're $240. In 6 months, even after shipping and fees, you're netting like what, $50-$60 a box? I think more. And this is what I'm talking about, turning $1,000 into $2,000. I mean, it's not quite doubling up, but you know. And where's it going to go now? I mean, I guess if you bought at the low and you're selling today, that would be doubling up, except for shipping and fees. But details. But then we get to today, because the thing is that the story doesn't end with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy was an extremely successful Magic set, and it still is. It's still demanded. It's still sought after. The sell-through of products is actually insane. I've actually got like a cutesy chart I can share. Let me make you look at my face for a second, because there's been just insane growth in Magic. And that's the real story here, is that it's not just about Final Fantasy doing well or the Hobbit being pre-ordered. So, you know, what's the word? Like powerfully? So all-encompassingly. It has been just wild to see growth in Magic. Now, let me show you this chart. Because, well, and this chart's actually a little bit besides the point, but Check out Marvel Superheroes versus Final Fantasy recently. Once again, my intern made this. Marvel boxes are selling at higher volume than Final Fantasy, which makes sense, but Final Fantasy boxes are so much more expensive. And this number's a little bit outdated because it's really closer to like $240 now. But still, Final Fantasy is selling so well. But of course, now we have Marvel. Now, was Marvel an incredible set? No, in my opinion, it's not. I've opened up 2 boxes plus Jumpstart, and Jumpstart's really cool, but just the base set, in my opinion, it's kind of meh. I invested hard into Marvel, and I was wrong. I was wrong about it. I didn't make a lot of money. I don't think any money from the collector booster boxes I sold. I like broke even, which is pretty good, honestly, to not get punished for being wrong, because I thought it was going to go to like $600 a collector booster box right after release. Did not happen, but I broke even, so that was nice. And got to sell boxes to people who love the product and are going to open it probably. Well, anyways, so Marvel. Let's take a look at Marvel and let's think about Marvel, because this is the thing, is that Marvel booster boxes have plummeted. They're selling close to distribution cost. The story being told here is not a strong one for the set. But in the earnings call, Chris Cox revealed that Marvel Superheroes at release outsold Final Fantasy, outsold previous sets. And what does this mean? What does this mean if, and I know that it's not going to, like, in the grand scheme of things, Marvel Superheroes probably isn't going to make as much money for Wizards of the Coast as Final Fantasy, except for one thing that we're not exactly considering yet, which is there might just be way more people enjoying Magic now than ever before. Because how else would Marvel Superheroes be doing so well that it could compete with such a legendary set like Final Fantasy? And I think the answer to that question is that there are just so many more people that are enjoying Magic. People that were brought in by Spider-Man and by Avatar, and by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and even by Secrets of Strixhaven. And then Marvel comes along, and there's just more people, more money, more hands, more dollars ready and excited to spend money on this product on day one than there was for Final Fantasy on day one. And that's crazy. That's crazy, because in my opinion, Final Fantasy was a better set for like a lot of reasons. Final Fantasy had healthy characters. Final Fantasy had powerhouse cards that just really got you excited to build commander decks around them. I don't know if Marvel Superheroes really had that. I mean, there's like the unbeatable Squirrel Girl, but what else? What other superheroes were like, oh yeah, this is obviously going to be a great commander, or this is obviously going to make waves in standard or modern, or these kinds of things. It just didn't have that. So for it to sell so well compared to Final Fantasy that had all of that, I think it's people. I think there's more people than ever before. And what does this mean for the future? What does this mean for the Hobbit and for other products? Well, the Hobbit is selling well. Hobbit is selling strong volume. I don't have all the data to compare it to past sales, at least not on hand, but it's selling well. People are excited. I don't think this price is going to hold. It's kind of like $170, $180 a box. It seems to already be kind of faltering when we're still a little bit of ways from release. Yeah, so release is in, what is that, 3 weeks? 2 weeks? 2 weeks. Wow. So what about the money making? Let's talk about the money making opportunities. So we talked about Final Fantasy, where, yeah, I mean, we can take a look at this chart. In 6 months, product jumped from $140 to $240. Money making opportunities for anyone who's willing to buy, stick it in a closet, let it sit, and willing to get some bubble wrap and cardboard and ship it later. It's not nothing. It's some effort, some work. But if you're willing to do that, there's great money making potential. Well, guess what just got restocked? Marvel Superheroes Jumpstart Booster displays. Is this guaranteed to go up like Final Fantasy? No, but it has gone down like Final Fantasy. So these were selling for $180 a box. Now they're down to $140. That's not as big of a drop as, $240 to $120. But this is an example of this opportunity of reprints, of things going down, of opportunity to make money. And there's going to be more of these. There's more reprints coming up. I'm not privy to all of the news about what's being printed by who, when, but if it's true that we just have this an absurd growth in Magic players and collectors and investors and whatever, and that is the reason why a set that is kind of mediocre like Marvel Superheroes could still outsell Final Fantasy on day one, prices are just going to go up. Product is just going to sell. When there's reprints, yes, prices are kind of crashing now, but it's going to go back up. If it's a desired product that is proven to be fun or collectible or investable or any of those things, it's going to go up. And so I got myself a case of Marvel Superheroes Jumpstart displays. If the EV is really good, I think I will break it down and sell singles, but odds are I'm just going to stick it in a closet and let it sit, because it's just obvious to me, at least, that these things that are rare and scarce are going to go up. Now, could it get reprinted and be reprinted into the ground? Yes, there's always risk. There's definitely risk. And so it's not like free tendies, but it's an opportunity that I'm going to take. So good times. Hey, thanks for watching. You should subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And a super thanks to my patrons, very generous in supporting me in my content journey. And patron hangout coming up soon. So check that out. Anyways, peace, y'all.